welcome to another special edition of What the Music. I'm joined by Iestyn, Dylan and Erin to find out their thoughts and assimilations of this fantastic podcast series. We've heard from 5 fabulous local community practitioners who've all taught us so much about the ethos and practicalities of running such events. So my first question to you is, of the series, which moment sticks out to you as being the most memorable and why? Iestyn.
Well, the most memorable to me was when we had in Jenny Pearson talking about how the choir group that she was conducting with, and it just really proves how you can get people all together and make a community out of all this music.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Iestyn. How about you, Erin?
I agree on that as well. Only Boys Allowed, it's it shows how a group of people can go so far from their performance on Britain's Got Talent and then all the community work that we've done. It just shows what music can bring.
What music can give to people. Yeah, thanks, Erin. How about you, Dylan?
I think that one was also mine too, because it's probably the biggest guest we've had on, because they're, some of them have been on Britain's Got Talent and stuff.
Yeah.
So it meant quite a lot to see how far music can go.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jenny was a fantastic guest, so well done for getting her on board with the podcast. She's certainly got a lot of experience in all sorts of different areas of community music. So what do you think the purpose of community music is? And how do you think that community music benefits the local community? Have you got any specific examples from what you've learned from the podcast series?
Well, I think that the purpose of a community for music is to just to get people using their strengths and abilities when coming to singing, dancing, or playing instruments.
Mm-hmm.
And we just normally just connect together as a group, make new friends, and just basically, if you're having a tough time at night, you can just go to them.
Yeah, absolutely. So of the podcast series then, Iestyn, can you give me an example of somebody who's done that, brought together a group of people in a musical event, but the sort of purpose being to bring together people from all walks of life and do something together?
Well, there was the one we've just mentioned of the boys group that Jenny Pearson had that went on Britain's Got Talent.
Yeah, good. How about you, Erin?
Yeah, like Iestyn said, it brings everyone together. Not always people know where their clique is or what their thing is. So even if you don't know, it's not a judgmental space. No one's going to judge you whether you know or not. I think when was it Alid that came in from Theatre Clothed, he talked about how his group, he teaches kids that have never picked up an instrument before to people that are so experienced. Mm-hmm. So it just shows the versatility with it.
Yeah, lovely answer. Thanks, Erin. How about you, Dylan?
Well, I think the purpose of community music is just bringing everybody together through music, and for it to not be a competitive thing. It's just meant to be, we're playing music. Yeah. We're all friends. Yeah. And people make lifelong friends through music. Yeah. So I've always kind of just looked up to how community music works, how music can bring people together. Yeah,
great. I think you three collectively have kind of summed up the definition of community music: non-judgmental, non-competitive, and open for all. So thank you for that. What do you think makes a successful community event?
Well, to make a successful community event, I think people have got to it's got to be where people have showed up, people enjoy it and remember it, and it's fun for everybody.
Yeah, they're your success criteria, aren't they? Well done. Yeah, thanks. That's really succinct. Erin?
That everyone's had fun, that they've enjoyed themselves. I think if they haven't had fun, something's not gone right. So
yeah. Dylan?
It's that people show up, but you kind of ensure that everyone is having as good of a time as they are. Yeah. Making everybody kind of just enjoy music all together. Yeah. And for it to not be a bias thing.
Yeah. It is. It's finding the way to make everybody kind of achieve, isn't it, or to enjoy themselves, and finding lots of different ways to cater for everybody from all walks of life. So you guys are off into the big wide world next year. We'll be sad to lose you from Flint High. But if you were going to run further community music events, How would you approach it? And I am talking about the practicalities here. And what would be your priorities to ensuring that your community event is a good one?
Well, first I'd try and see if I can find like a group of like people in the community that want to play in a band that haven't been able to, and I'd basically just try and see if I can set up like a date, like practice dates, a time, and a place to do a community event.
Yeah. How about you, Erin?
Definitely make sure there's people from all walks of life, because sometimes when you get like a band together, it's normally the best of the best that are included in.
Yeah.
I think that gives people a huge confidence now, because they're going to be like, am I good enough?
Yeah.
Can I do it? And that sometimes puts people off. So
Yeah.
definitely everyone.
Picking the right activity, which means everybody can succeed. Yeah. Dylan?
Is this running community music events?
Yeah.
I think like concerts that are from like local bands and stuff, they can definitely bring community music to a more kind of wider, spectre of people. So it's stuff like that. You can organise them pretty quickly, especially with like a small town like we have. So just kind of like making that is pretty much quite easy, but also like organising it, and the priorities for it are mainly just that people enjoy the music, and that it's kind of just bringing people together more and more, especially with concerts and stuff.
Thanks for that. So there are definitely some pitfalls. What would you try to avoid?
Well, I tried to avoid like not pushing anybody to like out of their comfort zone, or like making them feel uncomfortable or not wanted or anything.
Their confidence being knocked. I feel like that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you get large groups, people can get too ahead of themselves, and it becomes a competition. So there's no competitive side to it. It's just pure making music.
How about you, Dylan?
It's more or less about like stage fright. People do get stage fright because they're worried about people not enjoying it, but you can't really judge. Realistically, they're there for the community, so you just don't judge. You don't be so harsh on local people. That are just getting into music. So mainly people that like are a bit frightened of the stage. Maybe that's like how they find out that stage isn't that bad. Is that they get more used to community music.
And do you know how you would go about putting that into practice? I understand the ethos, but as a community leader, how do you make the stage a less scary place for people?
You could, if it was a local small town, of course there would probably be less people showing up. But like it's just like that mentality of don't judge other people. Because let's say you had like a whole audience full of band people. They would also know how it feels,
Great. So personal qualities then, I think we've probably touched on that through that answer. What do you think you yourself need to model and exemplify when you're running community music?
Well, the qualities that I'd recommend is like being really confident and like wanting to be that. Like you wouldn't want somebody who was not going to show up and not being bothered to play at all. And they've got to be like ready for the event.
How about you, Erin?
Like Iestyn said, so obviously the enthusiasm needs to be there, but also I think as someone running it, you need the understanding that not everyone's going to pick stuff up at the same pace. Some people are going to have bad days, but it's just bringing it all together as one together.
How about you, Dylan?
It's like getting over the biggest road bumps before you can, truly go play. So like, just like what Erin said, doing it at your own pace and kind of just making people more comfortable with their environment.
Great, thank you. So one of my most memorable moments of the podcast was when we were discussing with Alan and Emily about music being accessible to all, and they strive through Flintshire Music Service at Theatre Clwyd to be able to offer music tuition for everybody. What does that mean to you, and how would you ensure that your community event was inclusive and open to all?
Well, for how it means to me, like it means like you don't personally just leave people out who aren't good at instruments. You offer it to everybody to try and either help them learn or help them get better.
Yeah.
And to ensure that my event's inclusive, I'd have to go around, see what people are playing, and if we have too much of one instrument, try and see if I can ease them into something new.
Yeah. And do you remember when Al had said, like, we gave the opportunity here at Flint High School for everybody to learn an instrument, and everybody started on an instrument. Not everybody stayed on that same instrument and they found their passion for another, but it got them started. So it is about being able to offer something and being able to move them on to an area that interests them as well.
I think the financial side of it as well is a big thing. Not everyone has the access to music financially. Again, talent shouldn't come into it. I think everybody, no matter what background, should have an access to music. So that's definitely something.
So in practice, this is difficult, especially as we sort of go into an age of austerity, really. How would you ensure that your community event doesn't exclude people who are less well off?
I mean, GoFundMes and charity events, they're always a good start.
Yeah.
Even the instruments don't even have to be the most high tech, like secondhand stuff, whatever you can find.
Yeah.
As long as someone has an opportunity,
yeah,
I'm sure they're going to love it either way.
Yeah. How about you, Dylan?
It's more like inclined of giving opportunities to less fortunate people.
Yeah.
And making sure that everyone at least has at least one or two opportunities to go pick up an instrument that they've never played before. That could be like the drums, guitar, anything like that. Something that is kind of the main staple of music.
Yeah. Guys, thank you so much for this fascinating discussion and for sharing your critical judgments on the podcast. Thank you again for preparing and presenting such an informative 5 episodes of What the Music.